EndNote really comes into its own when integrated with Microsoft Word. And this video looks at inserting references into your document, editing footnotes to add page numbers and other information, and briefly look at converting your citations into plain text. So the first thing we're going to look at is simply inserting a reference into your document. So I've got a document here with some sample text. I know it's in Latin, but it doesn't actually matter what the document says. You can see I've already got my EndNote ribbon open. This should be there automatically when you have EndNote installed on your computer. It picks up the style from the one you have selected in EndNote itself, but you can change it here. So obviously we're looking at footnotes, so I will change that over now. To insert a reference, it's a two-stage process. First, put your insert point where you want the reference to go. I'll put it here in the third row. I need to go to the References ribbon to be able to insert the footnote, and then back to the EndNote ribbon to insert a citation. Now the Insert Citation button has got two different bits to it. The top bit opens the Insert Citation dialog box, which I'll come back to, and the bottom part gives you the option to insert the currently selected citation from the EndNote library. I'll show you how to do that soon. So I'm doing Insert Citation. I need to search for a particular book or reference source. This can either be by searching for an author, so I could type in the name of an author and it should find it. I could type something that was thematic, so a word that I think will come up in the title. So I could search for rubric in this example. And rubric obviously occurs in either the title or keywords of 3 of my references. Or I could even search for a year. So there's lots of different ways you can find the reference you need. I'll select one at random and insert it. And you can see it's put the footnote at the bottom, and it's also started to create a reference list at the end of the document. As you write, this will stay at the end of the document and so won't be on the same page. Now were I to repeat that, so find somewhere else to put a reference, insert my footnote, back to EndNote, and choose Farrell again. It recognises that it's the same as the previous and so has put in IBID. It will also put in short forms. So if I go to my Insert Footnote, choose EndNote, Insert Citation and a different one, that will go in full. If I do the same thing again, so put in another reference and choose Farrell again, it's just put the shorter form in. So it's just the surname and the title. If I wanted this to be an even shorter title, so perhaps just visual literacy, then I'd need to make sure I'd added that into my EndNote reference. So I go back to EndNote, find the Farrell reference, and in the reference panel down the right hand side you'll see there is an option for short title. If I put that in as a short title, save the record, Ctrl S, and then go back to Word and update the citations and bibliography you can see that has put the short form in. If there is no short form, it will always default to the full title. If there is a short form in, it will put that in if it is a repeated reference. For footnote referencing, I find it really useful to slightly customise the quick access ribbon in Microsoft Word. I find it really annoying to have to keep switching from the References ribbon to the EndNote ribbon, so I suggest customising the quick access toolbar. At the top of your document, where you have the options for save and undo, there is a small drop down that allows you to customise this quick access toolbar. If you go to More Commands, it will open up a large dialog box. You can then select the tab that the option you want is on. So I've chose the References tab and I'm looking for the Footnote option, and I'm going to add that to the Quick Access toolbar. And then if I go back up here and go to the EndNote tab, I can add the Insert Citation. Click OK, and they will appear on the Quick Access toolbar. You can even move this so that it's below the ribbon down here, which makes it slightly easier as well. So now if I needed to insert a citation, I can just click where I want that to appear, go to my Quick Access ribbon, click Insert Footnote, click Insert Citation, choose the one I want and insert it. It's so much quicker. Here's a quick way to put multiple references into your document at the same footnote. The Insert Selected Citations is quite useful when you want to add more than one citation at a time. So if I put an insert point where I want my citation, I can then go to EndNote and select a series of citations. If you hold the Control key down, you can add individual citations to your selection. Then go back to Word, do your footnote, but don't do the Insert Citation from the Quick Access toolbar. Use the one on the ribbon and choose Insert Selected Citation. And you'll see there in my citation 5 now, there are several citations together with semicolons between them. You can of course add extra citations into a footnote just by clicking at the end of it and using the Insert Citation button. It will reorder it as necessary. You may need to edit footnotes to add page numbers or more information. If you want to edit a footnote to add a page number, then right-click on the footnote and choose Edit Citation and More. You've then got the option of adding your pages at the bottom. And you can see that has appeared at the end. You can also use that More dialog box to add additional text. So for example, I could right click on the one above here, Edit Citation and More, and give it a prefix of perhaps C and a suffix. So there you can see it will say C, my reference for another example. It's important to include the spaces after the word C and before for example here. You can't just edit the text itself. Any additional text you put in would disappear when the reference updated. Now we'll look at deleting footnotes. If you want to delete a footnote, if it's a single footnote, like most of them here except number 5, you can of course just delete the footnote in the document and that will get rid of it in the footnotes at the bottom as well. If you want to delete one where you've got multiple references, then it's not quite as simple. You would need to do the right click, edit citation and more, and then in the top of the box select the reference that you want to remove. I'll just check which one. Yes, it's the middle one. So I select it, choose edit reference and remove citation. Click OK and that should disappear. Again, if I tried to just delete that directly from the footnote, it would have kept coming back when the footnotes updated. And finally, we'll look at converting citations. Sometimes you may be asked to provide a document that is plain text, so it looks as though you have typed the citations in manually. To do that, first of all, make sure that you have saved your document and that it is saved on a drive that is not a cloud drive. If you are using a cloud drive, make a second copy of the document first. Then on the EndNote ribbon, you can convert citations to plain text. You'll get this message that tells you that it will basically create a new Word document. OK that, and it will create another document. If I highlight over the references at the bottom or any of the footnotes, that's as if they've just been typed in. If I go back to my original document and do the same, you'll see that they have the darker text to show that they are EndNote fields. Occasionally, you may open a document and find that the references look very strange. For example, like this, with curly brackets and just the surname and a date. These are unformatted citations. Nothing is broken, it's just the way that EndNote stores them when there's no output style applied. All you need to do to get it back to how you need it is to update citations and bibliography. Now we'll look at separating your reference list into primary and secondary sources. In history, it's usual to have your reference list separated into primary and secondary sources. It's easy to do this. If you go on the EndNote ribbon to the Categorize References option and Configure Categories, you'll see that there are already some headings for primary sources and secondary sources. It shows you a list of all the sources that are currently in your document on the right. And all you do is select the ones that are primary and drag those into the primary category, and select the ones that are secondary and drag those into the secondary category. And you can see down the right hand side here that they've been assigned. You can add extra categories using the plus here, and you can rename categories here too. When it's all done, you just click OK. I'll just put this onto a new page. And you can see that that has then divided that up into primary and secondary sources.